Most Americans consider the lower end of that range, 75,000, 100,000, be middle class, according to the Post poll. Yeah, look, that's what I was talking about. You're talking about lower middle class, and upper middle class. If you want to talk about, most people when they talk about middle class, they're probably talking the upper part or the higher end of lower middle class, and then the lower part of middle class, quote unquote, as where the middle class range is, not like dead center of what people say, is middle class when you look at these various ranges. I would say 75 to 100K for the whole country. For whole country average, yeah. I would say, we're getting closer and closer for the whole country of 100K no longer being, quote unquote, middle class, like getting closer to being lower middle class. And I think one of the issues, like this is just talking about middle class. And then for those the first time listening, I do not read these articles ahead of time. I was just about to talk about the size of the family, what that is. 100K in the state of Maryland, unless you are living, in the parts of Maryland that people don't consider Maryland. But if you're living in Howard, Baltimore, Howard County, Anne Arundel County, Baltimore County /city / Harford County, the Baltimore County /city areas, PG County, Moco, and even Charles County, like the DMV type of areas, and the quote unquote Baltimore type of areas, 100K. You can live in a city. That's a whole other conversation though. But 100K is damn near poor here. For family of 4, 100K is poor. You're only making on 100K, family of 4, if you have no housing costs, as far as you don't have to pay rent for whatever reason, or you no longer have a mortgage, and you have no debt. That'd be the only way. And you got to be married, because you can't pay them. You can't pay single. You cannot pay single payer taxes. No. 100K is damn near poor, because you're bringing in. And that's when you equate. Remember. And retire comfortably. The retirement number for comfortably is definitely 15%, bare minimum. So when you add in 15% out of this 100K, now we're talking about 85,000. This is gross, by the way. This is pre-taxes, pre-deductions. We talk about $100,000 gross, pre-insurance, pre-taxes, pre-retirement, pre-anything. We just take out how much you need to retire. From a percentage standpoint, 15%, we're talking about $85,000. Talking about 75, what is that? What's that? Is that 9,000? No. 11. Yeah, we're talking about 60, a little under around $64,000 there. A family 4 in Maryland is not making it on 64. I think Maryland's median income is around 90. Let me double check. Yeah, Maryland's household income is right at 98. Okay, that's for 2022. So let's just call it $100,000. So no. A Maryland family of 4 who is going to be able to retire comfortably, 85K is not stretching it. You make too much money to get government assistance, but I'll be damned to see that budget, and you bringing in. You might be bringing in $6,000 a month. Maybe at 85K, then you pay insurance for a family of 4. Yeah. Let's just say you're bringing in 6. Let's say you're 13. Yeah, you can easily pay another $1,000 a month in insurance. So that's 12 right there. 85 minus 12 is 73. 6 times 12 is 72. It's $6,000 family of 4 in Maryland is. Again, you cannot have no house. You have to not be able to pay for housing. As far as not be able to pay, like you don't have to make that payment. Thinking about a family of 4 in the U.S., again, most Americans consider 75K to be middle class income. No, for a family of 4. I want to know so bad where they actually ask these people at, or where do they live, should I say. Thinking about a family of 4 in the U.S., would you describe each of the following annual income levels as lower, working class, middle class, or upper class? So you see, they have the 3, lower class or working class, middle class, and upper class, but middle class has, multiple ranges. So we got, why is it doing this? We got lower working class being viewed as, some people bringing it up to like 150K. I see how it's traversing. All right, these are the questions people ask. In short, again, most people are considering it 75 to 100K. Cool, whatever. Even when looking at middle income Americans using Pew's more expensive range, the majority did not have the security associated. Yes, we've gone over this multiple times. Sometimes I feel like I cover it too much. But the more money you make, that does not mean you're going to be in a situation where you're more quote unquote financially secure based off these data points, and short that this article is speaking to. Right, more money, more problems. A lot of times, I say this many times on here. I've already said this before. The benefit of not making a lot of money, excluding student loan debt, is that you can't have but so much debt from an overall dollar standpoint because you don't have the money to qualify for it. All right, when you start getting into multiple six-figure range, over 200K plus, now you're able to start qualifying for a lot of debt because your income is there. But also your credit score, because you have still such a high income, so you may be able to lock in for a period of time to increase your savings rate and then make it so you don't actually need the quote unquote better credit score because of how much money you're actually getting from a loan standpoint isn't as much. That's about what people want to talk about. Yeah, having more money. I mean, people who don't have crazy amount of student loan debt, but they're making under 100K. Let's say they're making 50K tops. They're not about to come to me and tell me they got all this debt unless they had a significant like medical issue. That'd be the only time. That'd be the only time I would expect for them to say they have a lot of debt. But they can only have but so much. Now it might be a lot relative to their income, percentage wise, DTI, understandable. But we can increase your income past 50K pretty substantially, pretty quickly. Once you get to relative to your job, your field, but you're gonna be talking about you making 200K. I'm not about to look at you until you need to make more money, unless you live in like, California or somewhere like that. You got a budgeting issue. You got a spending problem. All right. You got a discipline issue. Those that did tend to be older, had higher incomes, and were more likely to have a college education, own their homes. This is people who meet the markers. So they tended to be older, makes sense, have more money. As you get older, you usually make more money. So that's kind of redundant there, but makes sense. And then college educated people and own their homes. People who have a college education, you make more money than people who don't. Thank you, Washington Post. Excuse me. My wife brought home some African food, and this got me just burping like crazy. While the Post poll found 60%, of Americans considered home ownership essential to being middle class, homeowners over age 30 were more likely to be financially secure, even when comparing people with similar ages and incomes, according to the Federal Reserve survey.